All Arkansas, all sports. It's more sports.
All right, here we go. What's going on, everybody? I'm Wes Moore. Glad you're with us for another More Sports, back for another week. And today, kind of a busy day. Bobby Petrino spoke with the media earlier today and talked a little bit about some of the changes, some of the things they've been doing in the past week and getting ready for Tennessee. We're going to talk about Tennessee week with Anthony Lucas, former Razorback great, will join us here in a few minutes. Also, Petrino, speaking of wide receivers, talked about the loss of Jaylen Brown for the rest of the season and how some of the guys are going to have to step up. If you haven't heard that press conference yet, I'd say Courtney Crutchfield, got some news about Courtney Crutchfield. AJ also was talking a little bit about the wide receiver, the freshman out of Warren, and just the bad high ankle sprain he had, and how he's felt like maybe this past weekend with 3 days off was good for his ankle, and maybe he's getting closer to 100%, but felt like Courtney Crutchfield is one of those guys that needs to step up for Arkansas at that wide receiver position, and they're going to need it now with two wide receivers. Go back to CC at the beginning of the season. That's two they're without, and they got to have some guys step up throughout the rest of the season, the last 7 games. And Crutchfield, after coming in, as Coach said, a little soft around the midsection during spring ball, got into shape, has learned the playbook, and feels like he's ready to step up and be a contributor for this Arkansas offense at wide receiver spot. Also, other news as far as the coaching search, there was a name thrown out. Riley McFerrin, hogbeat.com, was talking about his sources told him that Missouri offensive coordinator Kirby Moore was interviewed over the weekend for the head coaching job. And as Riley pointed out, that, they interview a lot of people and talk to a lot of people. I heard the news. I'm not doubting Riley at all. I'm sure he has good sources. I'm just, why are they interviewing an offensive coordinator from Missouri, Riley Moore, without the head coaching position? And then why do you let that out? I mean, is that calculated? Do they want Razorback fans to think that they're covering all their bases and maybe trying to lower the bar a little? It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know why you want that out, that you're interviewing a guy that it's not going to create a lot of excitement out there. It's not like you release a name in hopes of really exciting the fan base, and that's definitely not going to do it. So I thought that was kind of odd that was released or leaked out there. But once again, I don't think it's a serious candidate. And I think we all know what Arkansas needs. That's a head coach with experience, a guy that's got experience in the SEC, that knows SEC athletes and what it takes to win in the SEC. So just a strange little bit of news there today. Also hearing good things from practice, that things are upbeat, up-tempo, quicker practices, shorter practices, and practicing for a purpose, with a purpose. And just some of the things I think we can expect from Coach Petrino now, does that carry over to Tennessee, and what does that look like when Arkansas plays Tennessee, both offensively and defensively? As we all know, they've had some second-half problems with that offense the last 3 games, and defense has just been a total issue. All right, of course, Tennessee week, and one of the greats, Anthony Lucas. When I think Tennessee, I think of Anthony Lucas and Clint Sterner and those 2 years, 98 to 99. Earlier today, of course, Coach Lucas now at Pulaski Academy, and they've got practice. But earlier today, I caught up with Coach Lucas.
Let's bring in Anthony Lucas. When I think Tennessee, Arkansas, he's one of the first guys that comes to my mind. What's up, Coach? How are you?
What's up, Wes? Top of the morning, man. I'm doing well.
Yeah, well, it's Tennessee week, and a lot of people are getting excited for a lot of different reasons for Arkansas football. I mean, you think about it with the coaching change and Petrino taking over, and get to see what this team looks like. And the first team up is Tennessee. And I know that brings back a lot of memories for you.
Man, it brings back a ton of memories. I always think about the time I got to go over there, and man, go in that stadium. Actually dreamed of playing there because I wanted to play with Peyton Manning coming out of high school, and he went to Tennessee, and was like, man, always thought about what it would be like. But man, when I got that opportunity to play over there, God, I walked in that stadium during our pregame the day before that Friday we played over there in 1998. Man, I was amazed. I'm not gonna lie, I was like a kid in a candy store. But man, what a great atmosphere. Great stadium, and that place is going to be rocking.
So, as a kid growing up, you wanted to play for the Volunteers?
I wanted to play with Peyton Manning, and Tennessee. He went to Tennessee, so that was the deal. And I was like, man, I bet that's gonna be cool because Peyton Manning I knew he threw the ball a lot, and he was a good quarterback coming out of high school. But he and I were like some of the top athletes coming out of high school in 1994 at the same time, and I always wanted to play with him. And
Did you have a relationship with Peyton Manning through high school football there in Louisiana?
No, I didn't. I didn't. I met him towards the end of my senior year. They had this magazine that would come out called the Top 24 Kids in the Bayou, and I was chosen. He was, and the Josh Booty was one of them too as well. And we all met in New Orleans, and I had an opportunity, so we had to meet down there to did some media stuff, took a photo, had a photo shoot, and I got a chance to catch a ball from him. Man, it was pretty cool in high school. But I always watched him, kept up with him. I love my quarterback too. I had a good quarterback as well. But I was like, man, I want to play with Peyton Manning. And when he went to Tennessee, I always had thought about what it would be like playing with him over in Knoxville. So, but man, I became a Razorback, and I'm grateful that I became one. And it's been awesome.
I'd never heard that story before. Did Tennessee ever sniff around, talk to you at all?
Yeah, they did a little bit. They recruited me a little bit, but then because of my ACT score, they backed off me. And throughout as my early part of my senior year, so that was that. I never heard back from them, and so I wanted to go stay with somebody that was loyal to me. That was Fitz Hill at the University of Arkansas.
Well, you had two great games against Tennessee.
Mhm.
Was that a little extra motivation for you?
It always was. If you go back and look at my freshman year when we played them in 1995, that was my freshman year on the field. I I had like 6 catches, 100 and something yards, and 2 touchdowns against Tennessee in that game. If you can remember back in '95 in Fayetteville, yeah. And after that game, Peyton told me, say, "Man, I sure wish I had you as a receiver." I say, "What? You got Joey Kent and Marcus now, all these boys." Like I said, I wish I could have played with you, man, and stuff. So I would never forget that moment. After that, they beat us, but still, yeah.
Yep. So, which made it even sweeter, I guess, in 99 when you get the payback and have another big game and you have the catch.
Yes, that was pretty cool. I tell people all the time, Wes, the most interesting thing about that is in 1998, we lost 28-24, and then in 1999, we come back a year later and we beat them 28-24, and I was on the receiving end of the winning touchdown catch. But man, it's just amazing how God works, and I just felt so grateful in '99 for Clint Sterner, man, because he had so much on his weighing on him a whole year. And we did as a football team, but he had so much weighing on him fumbling that ball in 98. But to get the opportunity to be on the receiving end of that catch, man, was just, man, truly an honor and a blessing. And that's one I'll never forget, man. Never forget. Tennessee is a well-oiled machine. They're great, always been a great program. And, to beat them in 99, man, it was special.
98 was tough. And you know what? Arkansas is going through some tough times right now. They've had some end of the game failures, fumbles, and then the whole Notre Dame, debacle. What is it? What's going on in that locker room? How hard is it right now for these college kids? And how do you bounce out and get out of that funk after losing a game like that?
Well, first of all, guys need to humble themselves, be selfless and humble themselves and realize there's something that we're not doing right as a football team. And then they got to be open to be able to fix that, to fix those things, be able to be coachable, to take coaching in a way that you probably hadn't been coached in a while, but they're going to have to come together. You can't be pointing the fingers. No way. No, it doesn't work like that. Well, the linebackers are doing this or the receivers did a quarter. No, y'all got to figure out what's going on and come together as a football team and try to get back to playing Razorback football and getting ready to beat Tennessee. And again, they're going in a hostile environment this week. That place, they will rocket top you to death if you don't keep Tennessee out of that football game. So they have to come together, Wes.
You've also been a part of coaching changes.
Yes.
What's it like right now? Kind of take us inside. What's it like when a team has to go through
Well, my take on things with this bringing in 3 or 4 new coaches right now is how would the kids will the kids be receptive of the new coaching staff? How much would they respect these new guys coming in? How will the new coaches quickly build a relationship with those guys on defense? That's the part that scares me, because we're in a different day and time now with kids in college playing with the NIL stuff. And man, I'll make more money than you. Things like that are probably going around, thinking that a coach can't talk to you in no sense, or else okay, he's going to talk to me like this, I can go somewhere. So my biggest worry right now is the relationship between the new coaches and the players that are there now, having to listen to a whole different style, different terminology, I'm sure, and then get acclimated. And it's going to be a trust to whether the kids are going to trust these new coaches or not. So hopefully that's going in the right direction. And just to make that transition like this very quickly, I worry about that. But Saturday we will find out and we will see.
Yeah, it's difficult to pinpoint exactly how this is going to work, because you hear about on the defensive side there was obviously some issues, whether it's in the locker room, back and forth between the offense and defense, in-house fighting, whatever the case. But then when you basically clear house on one side of the ball and ask these defensive players to play for a new set of coaches, and thankfully there's a bye week, but still, Coach, I don't know how it's going to work. You just hope it does, but I don't see how it all comes together in 2 weeks.
I've been saying that all week, and ever since last week, when Coach Pittman and those guys were let go, that's the big question. How would that coach? I don't know how would a coach, get those guys to play for him, and the trust and the relationship building, because that's 75-80% of it is building relationships with your coach. And so we will see. It's going to be interesting, and hopefully things are going in the right direction. The kids are being receptive of the new coaches, and they're building that trust and that relationship with them. I just hate that. I hate that we had that happened in the middle of the season like this, but it had to happen. There were some changes that needed to be made, I thought, and so it's going to be interesting. Have you heard anything? I want to know, have you heard anything, man? What's going, because I hadn't heard anything. Coach Kobe Smith was here on Friday. He stopped by, the new offensive coordinator, running backs coach, and we didn't go into too many details. I just mentioned to him, I hope these guys can gel and come together and turn things around.
You nailed it on the defensive side. What I heard from one of the very first practices was it's a lot of new terminology. It's going back to basics. It's trying to simplify things. And, the defense was there were a lot of problems with the defense. Yeah. And hopefully going back to the basics and simplifying things will help things out.
Wes, when you say going back to the basics, though, let's look back a year ago. How did things change from just a year ago under Coach Williams, Travis, and what he was doing, man, and his guys, and then to this? And I'm thinking, did the guys get too comfortable, or what happened? Did they lose respect for him? I mean, I love Coach Travis. He was great. He did so many great things, but God, what happened within a year? I don't know, the effort, or did we get too ahead of ourselves? And again, I always go back to being humble and being selfless, and I don't know what happened, but I hate that it's just within a year, man. I don't get it. So
no, there are so many questions. You nailed it, because they claimed and they looked like they loved playing for Travis Williams and played hard for him last year. But then you look at what the Notre Dame game, and they clearly weren't playing hard and didn't care. So what happened? And that's where you get some of the talk and rumors that there was some in-house fighting between the offense and the defense, and clearly lost part of the team, the defensive side against Notre Dame. So, and which, clearing the house, I don't know how that helps that and solves the problem.
Man, I totally agree with you. And that could be the problem and the answers. And that's what I just mentioned, Wes. You can't in a time like this. And Wes, I say this for myself, being here at Pulaski Academy. Wes, I've been here 14 years in my 5th year as head coach. This was the first year that we've been 0-3 in non-conference, Wes. That has never happened. And so I say the same thing here. I tell the coaches, I had to tell them this after game 2, I think it was, the loss. And, I was like, we can't point fingers. I said, we didn't, but like our kids can't see if we're divided or not. I know we're not, because that would tear up a locker room. And if that's the case in Fayetteville, then that's the problem. Offense doing this, defense. No, you win as one, you lose as one.
Glad you brought up your Bruins, because we also talk a lot of high school sports here, and I wanted to check on you guys after winning your first 2 conference games. Now you get Bryant. I was there that North Little Rock game on a Thursday night, and second half, it seemed to me you could see the confidence. I was always wondering, how much confidence did your team lose through the first 3 games, and then how did I see that correctly? Was that confidence start coming back against North Little Rock?
It was tough. And then the coaches and I, we came together and kept motivating our kids and let them know that, hey, we're a good football team. We always point out the positives in our team to show them what we're capable of doing, but also telling them we got to correct these little things, though. It's just the little things here, little things there. And you talked about the North Little Rock game. In that football game, first half, we had everything was together. Defensively, we had some guys just out of line, and Coach Taylor and the defensive staff, they made adjustments at the half. And I told Aaron personally, our quarterback, Aaron offensive, I say, Aaron, we're fine. I say, just calm down, relax, and play football. Make your reads. That's your first thing. You know the plays, you understand the system. Just make your reads and throw the football. And second half, and our defense came out and picked it up, and then offensively we picked it up too. Everybody was excited. It was our first home game too, Wes. Yeah. And it was just so high to be home. We're in the conference play, and we know what's at stake. And our seniors, they called a meeting that Monday after practice that we had before North Little Rock, and whatever went on in that room, man, you could tell the difference throughout the week. And then it picked up in that second half of the game. And we had a tough one last week against Central, and Central has a much better improved football team, but we went back and made some mistakes that we have to clean up, because I promise you, it's gonna be a tough game this week against Bryant. We have to clean up all the mistakes. You can't make mistakes. You can't be out of line, because any little crack or anything that you give Bryant, they're going to take advantage of it.
Bryant is the defending state champs, ranked number 1 this season. Is it Bryant of old? Watching them on tape, does it look like the same old Bryant?
Same Bryant. The same Bryant. Quarterback, they got a 2 quarterback system that they're running offensively. Defensively, they're gonna play the same thing. They're gonna man up. They're gonna man you up. They're gonna bring them big 4 up front, and linebackers gonna be flying. They're gonna run. They'll blitz a little bit. They run sideline to sideline pretty good. But they're gonna be aggressive. They're gonna play hard. That's Bryant. That's what they do. I mean, again, they're the 7A state champions, and I have so much respect for Coach Quad Sanders and his staff, and that program over there. They do an outstanding job. What we can't do is we cannot turn the ball over. We can't just give them the game. So we got to play a complete football game against them.
Coach, I said I'd keep you 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and I've gone over. It's gone 15 minutes. 5 minutes extra with you. I love talking with you, and it was a great conversation. Thank you so much.
Same here, man. Thank you so much. God bless you. Go Hogs and go Bruins.
Go Bruins. Cut him off. Sorry about that. Speaking of rankings, let's take a look at this week's high school football rankings, fresh right off the pages. This is the Arkansas Sports Media rankings. I'll share that with everybody. We'll start in 7A, and there they are, Bryan Hornets #1. No changes in 7A this week. It's Bryan, Bentonville, Rogers, Conway, Bentonville West. It's exactly how I had it ranking in my own rankings. 6A, small change. Benton loses to Sylvan Hills. They drop from #2 to #4. Shiloh moves back up to #2. They had their nice victory over Mountain Home. Mountain Home is #3, Benton 4, Sylvan Hills 5. I flip-flopped it. I put Sylvan Hills ahead of Benton because they went there and was able to knock off the Benton Panthers in Benton. In 5A, you got Joe T. Robinson #1, No Change 2, Greenbrier 3, Farmington 4, Searcy 5. That's a really solid group right there. Greenbrier, Farmington on the horizon. That'll be a great matchup. Let's move on down to 4A. Dardanelle #1 do have some changes in 4A because Mills was upset by Heber Springs. Elkins moves up to #2. Batesville, Southside. Batesville, let's see. Southside is tied with Arkadelphia for that 3 spot. The way I ranked them, I had Dardanelle 1, Southside 2, Elkins 3. 4 was Arkadelphia, and I put Nashville in my rankings because Nashville knocked off Arkadelphia, and Nashville played Dardanelle very close. So I think that Nashville Scrappers team, it's a good one. And 3A, it's one small change, and that's because Mansfield beat Charleston, so they flip-flop. Mansfield up to #3, Charleston falls a spot to #4, and Bismarck into the rankings this week at #5, and that's exactly how I put these 3A teams in my poll. And then 2A, no changes. EPC, Junction City, Carlisle, Mount Ida, and Cross County, and that's exactly how I voted in my rankings. And your top 10 overall, it's Bryant #1, Bentonville #2, Greenwood 3, Rogers 4, Conway 5, Bentonville West 6, Joe T. Robinson 7, Shiloh 8. You got Fayetteville and Mountain Home tied for 9th. I actually dropped Fayetteville out of my rankings. Do not have them in my rankings. I got Lakeside up there and also Sylvan Hills in my rankings. But that's a look at the overall top 10 this week and some big games coming up on the horizon. Friday night, it's going to be a big week for more sports. Coming up, we're going to name our high school team of the week, our player of the week. We also have former Razorback Braylon Mitchell joining us one night this week. We're going to talk about the linebackers, get ready for the Tennessee game. Of course, we'll keep talking about the coaching search and the changes in Fayetteville. Players will speak with the media tomorrow night. We'll get to hear from them for the first time since Coach Petrino took over. That's going to do it for tonight. I appreciate it. We got to get going for the Monday night football game. It's right around the corner. Hope you can join us tomorrow night for more sports.
All Arkansas, all sports. It's more sports.